Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Show. My name is Yolanda. Here we have Ayana, Alesta, and Sakian. And I know this is your first time tuning in, and you might be wondering, what is the show about? Is it going to be boring and daddy like these normal talk shows? Absolutely not. So you can expect hot topics off the press each week, our raw, unapologetic opinions, and a safe space for you to express your opinions and your thoughts. And so don't forget to comment and tune in.
Share the live.
Follow us.
We sit here every Sunday at 8 p.m. So make sure you join us. We discuss hot topics that you would post from social media. So whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, whatever it may be, whatever is impacting our culture. Each week we sit down here, we bang, we chill, we talk about it.
Raw, completely raw. So let's get into the meat of the show. Alessa, hit us with hot topic number one.
So the first topic we're going to be discussing is decolonized tourism. And by that we want to go into how tourism impacts the Caribbean region, specifically, different islands since COVID, different things. We really want to keep it open and flowing and really get the ideas going as we discuss it, and even talk about how our culture is impacted and different things. We really want to take tourism to that different perspective. So
Alessa, you said, how do we decolonize tourism? Is it a matter of, because a lot of people may say that colonization is a strong word because we live in 2021 colonization really, but I think what Alessa is trying to get at is how do you think that there is a colonial trait or mindset that we have as it relates to, because we're so heavily dependent on tourism. There's a difference between service, customer service, and servitude.
So give us an example of the point you're trying to make.
From your Caribbean, they would have said there's a difference between service and servitude. There's good customer service, and there's changing your entire demeanor to accommodate this lighter complexion or these tourists that is coming into our country.
So basically, you think we accommodate who we are, our accents, our body language, etc.
Change
the sort of revenue, but yet are heavily dependent. But back to the topic of the colonized tourism aspect.
I think
who we are too much as a people.
I think where Ayana's point is coming from is where we want to be as genuine as possible as we reach customers. Not because this person is from overseas, we could still extend the same courtesy of service to our customers. So for example, if all of us here were to leave this platform,
you don't make up your mind?
Yeah, so
what So I think we all can agree, and I'm sure the viewers can agree, that we need the same behavior across the board from our customer representatives.
Exactly.
But on the flip side though, this is me putting myself in the people them that providing this service.
Sure.
I mean, it's like I'll be more comfortable with you coming in my store. So I'll talk to you like, hey, we want on Michelle.
Oh.
Versus somebody that I know for sure not a local and would take certain things differently and would be a little more uncomfortable.
Yeah, but guess what? It's not what you say. It's how you say it. And a lot of the times, the delivery is rude.
correct,
and it's not professional.
So you think that
if I come into this store and you tell me, when you say Yolanda, you're good where you want, I wouldn't take that anyway. But if you say, if you're on your phone, you ready yet? You done? No, that gonna piss me off. And you know, if somebody of the different race come in,
it's going to be a completely different
appearance. Unless it's going to itching to say something.
I never experienced it. So
I actually just came from Park Hyatt, and I could use that as a perfect example about the
big box. Big
Big
box. Hey, let me go.
Don't even call it that.
Big box.
But so we went out for my aunt's birthday. Literally we had dinner and stuff like that. It just service again. And we're talking about the same thing. The young lady came and ordered certain things, and I actually gave her a $30 tip. I mean, it's not about
Baller shop,
but I gave her the tip on the basis.
Let's start. Hey, next week.
I gave her the tip on the basis that she, to me, went above and beyond to make me feel comfortable. So, for example, the food that my aunt ordered, she wasn't really happy with it. However, I'd order something simple as nachos, and basically, in order to compensate, she said, okay, I spoke with the chef and she brought over extra serving of nachos. I said to say, it's not what, it's how, and how she made me feel. So it's like, I said to her, and even when I gave her the tip, I said, I was like, listen, don't worry about the change, because you took the time.
Encourage it for future, so it's like, it's not only me one. And believe it or not, that tip would go a long way.
Correct.
I think in the American society, is where you're more accustomed to being tipped. I mean, it's not.
2%, 3%,
Yeah,
4%.
it's more norm. It's more of a norm there. Some people here, yeah, we do tip, but it's not something that you find happening every day in every restaurant. Like, it's such of a norm for us. So I'm asking you, in the tourism industry, do you guys feel the need? Do you guys feel the need to be appreciated? Do you guys feel underappreciated?
I think, just going back to the same topic, is when it came to the service, it's not all about just coming and saying, hey, this is what it is or whatever. It's about coming and trying to accommodate the person's needs. And as simple as you take simple things like that, it actually plays such an important role, because like I said, she came, we were ordering, and you know, they have this new barcode scan menu now.
Oh yeah.
Same thing, similar to the KFC drive-thru.
Yeah, in Dubai have it. It's Dubai.
So
Dubai.
when we were trying, it wasn't allowing me on my iPhone, my answer, now everybody wasn't getting it, so she went and she brought the actual hard copy. That was one good thing she did. Secondly, she told us what the specials were. She went ahead and kind of made us feel comfortable. And then when she brought the food, she said, you know, I brought out some, I'm going to bring yours, but I brought it because it's going to melt or whatever. And she went above and behind in my thing. And what she did, which was key to me, was she came back and she said, how is everything going? Need anything? How is the food? Whatever. And that's when I could have expressed and said in that moment, the food wasn't as thing, but you know, I would have liked some more chips. And she said, okay, let me go and speak to the chef. And she came back and she followed up. I mean, simple as that. That's what you're paying for. But if I'm gonna stay at home and serve myself, then you know what I mean. But I'm going out expecting that level of service. So
on a larger level, because I know we were speaking about hotel and taxi men on a small level, but we also have a tourism industry where investors now come and invest into our industry as a part of building our tourism industry. Now, this might be a little bit touchy, but do you think that there is some sort of sellout, for lack of a better word, with the government as it relates to investors investing in our country?
So I think that's where some of it kind of, and the other thing is, I don't know if you remember the Marriott model. What they do is they bring their own person, the skilled person, to basically come and start the business how they wanted to reach that international standard, and then they slowly allow the locals to take over.
But do you not think it's similar to if you have a family business and let's say you want to pass down the baton to your son? So instead of allowing, and you have been training your son from since small, from since age 3 come up, you know, this is how the business is, at the ropes or whatever. So you want somebody well versed to be in a position where they can pass on your ideologies to the staff.
You see, that's one aspect to look at it, that's fine. But if it's a matter of you are creating this investment or you are doing this investment for the creation of jobs for the locals, you have to kind of now ask yourself and say, what kind of jobs?
With it benefiting them. We are secondary.
Exactly.
They're just going to always to help the tourism industry.
But it's for somebody
just to put it on paper
to
and
make
just
money.
Think about it. Really? Come on, I started the hotel for me to make money and with people. So when they start in the hotel, they don't already have the management positions filled.
Exactly.
So I mean, so local is just to make up the slack.
So you think as a facade.
Basically.
And so it goes back to the whole decolonizing tourism.
So that's what I
it goes back to the whole trait of we are going to be at the lower end of the baton and other people is always going to be at the forefront.
I think we're being unfair to the tourism industry.
Okay.
Because I mean, nobody National Banking will just hire somebody for them to be a manager or supervisor.
And I think that your point
so just
kind of intertwines with what I was saying. That naturally, in a family business, you want to pass on to somebody who you have trained, come up. If the situation where we want our locals to have those management positions, maybe it's up to our government to implement some sort of policy that a percentage of the managerial staff will be locals. And because we understand that you want your ideologies and your...
But the job description, my God, management.
No, but wait. If they want your ideologies and their objectives reflected, then the situation, training has to be done. Even if you feel like the best training might be done in their house country, home country, maybe Jamaica, maybe Trinidad, America, then that's the solution.
I beg to differ, though. I beg to differ on the basis that I think that the training still needs to be
training, she might not perform to the capacity, then we will never give them the opportunities. So we have to have the open mind of, listen here, this certain percentage we receive will be management of our local staff. If we really want them to have a more superior role, this percentage will be management staff. Okay, so pass our cars, you kind of get back here, bring it back to the engineering cars. We got distracted for a minute, apologies. So yeah, we have to center on...
But what if you get that treatment there because the toys are coming? She ain't got nobody to do it too. So
but you got, maybe remember
there's
a certain look to it. Remember there's a certain look.
You look like money. You look like money.
And let's put up, you see?
You look like money.
Polo.
Ralph Lauren.
So, it's a certain look to it. And like, I mean, let's be realistic. Because if it says that I was really a waiter, you kind of have an idea on...
transgender, no? Waitress.
Hold on.
It's ready to switch you on. It's I
am a waitress. You kind of have an ideology as who you're kind of willing to
really give your best.
To really go above and beyond.
If I see me,
but I know it should be like that. It should be like that.
Sometimes you could be looking at somebody.
Let's be realistic about it. Let's be realistic. If I'm working from 12 to 8 in the night and I will want to take bargain them and they're coming in, of course I can be above and beyond because I want my little $50 tip.
You can't want a tip from every customer. You can't behave above and beyond.
Every customer can afford to get a tip.
Every customer can tip.
Yeah, but if you understand it,
let's be realistic. How many of us on this panel?
I mean, look at
how many on this panel ever trip?
You might end up in a profession that is not really driven by passion, but just opportunity. But if you know you're not willing to put your best foot forward, then don't do it. It's not only passion, but if you know you're gonna be there miserable, then why?
Jolanda, don't say that. Because you could talk from a perspective.
You want to join a job that you're gonna be miserable?
You could talk from a perspective where you have a plethora of jobs to choose from. Jolanda, you have a plethora of
who has a
lot of lower income, lower end people don't have that option. They just have to take what they get.
So because you take what you get, you ain't gonna put your best foot forward.
I'm not saying that.
It goes back to that conversation.
I'm not saying that you don't put your best foot forward, but you don't tell them leave the work. Leave the work to go where?
No, man, telling them leave the work, you know.
I tell them got no degree.
No, tell them leave the work.
Don't take the work. Me ain't got no subjects, me ain't got no. No, if me ain't got no subjects, me ain't got no. The thing. You gotta take what you get, Jolanda.
So you take it.
And so I must not take the work to feed my 8 children them.
No.
Because men have
but I know you take it. No, we're drifting from passion. The conversation is not about passion. The conversation is that you're getting paid to do a job. If you're not gonna do it, then don't take it. Correct. So it's not about so I know you're but I know guess what?
If I gotta get it paycheck
guess what? You got 8 children to feed, right?
Men gotta do it perfectly. Men gotta do it perfectly. Want to do the work and the money coming in and I get paid and I got money.
No, but doing it probably is this
you're talking from a perspective of being having a plethora
of a lot of opportunities. You shouldn't put your best foot forward.
I'm not saying that.
That's what you're
I'm not saying that, but you have to understand. You just said they must pack up and leave.
No, I'm saying
they must pack up and leave.
I'm saying take a job.
Them going against one another.
She said she didn't say pack up and leave.
No,
she wasn't implying it.
No, what I'm implying is that
no,
I know.
If you can't see yourself being fruitful in that environment, then you need to decide in that moment that it's not for you. Because guess what?
A lot of people know that the aim for them. You think they
know
aim
what
for
I'm
them?
saying?
I think they aim for them. You think I want to go pack bag? You think I want to go pack bag?
I think he's falling on some deaf ears, man. He be listening.
But to I and that's why we'll never come to an agreement. Because to I
okay, let's move on.
That makes sense, right?
I'll also say this, right? People have to also realize that no matter what circumstances you're in, you have to make the best of it. If God give you limes, make some lemonade. So I said that to say this.
Yeah.
You don't know that by being the front concierge person at the Marriott, you don't know who you meet. There was go back to that same example. We spoke about it a few days ago. I said there was somebody who was working at concierge and just how they dealt with the person. But they left from here and then
I'm not saying don't put your best foot forward. I'm saying that you cannot tell somebody to pack up and leave because they are not happy because they do not have the same opportunity
of you entering into a job that you know you're not gonna be happy now. You're not gonna put your best foot forward. It's all about you. If you know you can't perform the capacity that the job wants, then why would you put yourself in a position to be?
Because I am getting paid to feed my 8 children.
Okay. So let me move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on. But that is why we're here.
Okay.
That is why we're here. Every week, hot topic, hot discussion, hot everything.
Alessa brought in Reggae Beach is one of his favorite restaurants, right? Question. I know when all the restaurants started opening up and what's not, Reggae Beach was not one of them that did that. So it actually brings us back to the whole conversation of decolonized tourism, because this is like, I think the state, it was more of the waiting on, I don't know if it's more tourists or cruise ship, I don't know, but it's based on the international and the excursionists. So my question is, it was just basically, it was like, that brings us back to, aren't our locals enough? Because I know we are over there like, what, almost every Friday enjoying the buffet?
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next hot topic. So, if it is that you want to hear more about this specific topic, decolonizing tourism, come back next week Sunday, 8 p.m. We'll be here. But moving on.
Live and direct like Asho.
Share the live. Share the live. Moving on to topic number 2, which is a very hot topic on the street, which is our local vendors. Everywhere you turn. Walking as a pedestrian on the sidewalk, you gotta step off into the street. Because I attend But let me just read an article from the Labour spokesman which said, from Facebook, which says, local vendors on St. Kitts have been listed on the new government committee that is expected to address issues surrounding street vending in the island's capital of Dastia, such as challenges experienced by those differently abled and the elderly, as well as overcrowding by unlawful vendors plying their trade. What do you think the government need to do to address this issue?
I'm going to start that.
Go ahead, Alessa.
Let me hear your money,
okay.
Money man. Yeah, uncle.
Basically, right?
Hey, uncle.
Basically, right? I think personally, we have to also be mindful of who are the local vendors targeted. I'm all for the small business person. I'm all for them being out there. For me, personally, I feel like they've been in the market. I am not going to the market. Not on no whatever, but literally for me to go into the market, it's gonna be
you gotta find parking.
I have to figure out this.
I'm about to ask what
you gotta get cash. You gotta
you know what I mean? I got to whatever. But you know, many times I support or would have been able to be in a position to give that local a sale just by I could pull up. Like, especially through KFC. I mean, you know, we're not too far from them. Coming down there by KFC, and you know, they have like fresh plantain, fresh thyme, and you know, local provision and stuff like that. They would always get a sale from me because I'm driving, I rush into work, I would say, oh, I need a plantain, so I'm like, oh, got $20. You know what I mean? They get a simple transaction like that. Whereas with them being in the market, it kind of takes away from that. You know what I mean? And sometimes it ends up coming up where you end up going to the grocery store to buy from the grocery store.
All the way to the end. Yeah. Because I want to say, what the committee was formed, I think, serve as representatives. And so they were saying that the committee was formed to basically have inclusivity when making decisions on what should be done. And then that's why Alessa jumped to the end, because the suggestion was made that some of them could relocate to the market. And that's some valid points.
Should they go
hear that topic? First thing that come to my mind was centralizing everybody, something similar to the market. I mean, to take them off the road. But then the same problems that you're facing with going to the market, the same problems you face again. So I mean, it's like we could do the market thing, but then maybe provide parking, like a space for people to park, and like just make it a supermarket.
I guess the question maybe we are.
Like,
we ain't that.
yeah.
But then you see, too oversaturated. I know that these are my target customers, these people who does work up the industrial side, or these people who does work over the Marriott, who coming over from the peninsula, or these people who coming into town. So you set up shop where you know is best for you to get your
everything, anything you could think about. It's the traffic is actually allowed, but that street is
solely for that.
Well,
like in St. Martin, St. Martin has one.
Everyone is allowed to be
something.
Yeah, I have to say back street. You have for the front street and the back street. So what came to mind is, why don't we have a street designated for that? That way, even if the cars passing or what's not, it's not that you're obstructing any. Well, you're not really obstructing the
flow.
No, the passengers or the pedestrian. So. Because you asked me,
she can like try to process what she was.
She might get
faster than always. Expect that long. So you're not obstructing anybody because that road is actually designated for you. I can't really pinpoint
what exact street.
No, yeah, I can't really pinpoint
but you see
a road,
it's still
the idea
it's still linked up to the competition, and you don't want that people set up a tent specifically to say, okay, let me go cross the Bellwood, because nobody there's no competition. You must get a sale.
Like, what you gonna do? Like,
you must get a sale.
Keep them on the road. Okay, why is the disadvantage?
Because, but like they say that it you experience challenges by those differently abled, elderly, because if I got a wheelchair, how I can pop down off the thing to pop back up. Or if I'm an elderly, I gotta now step down off the sidewalk to go around and pop back up.
I mean, you keep bringing back the conversation of competition. I guess in this situation we have to judge. Is competition more important or obstructing the sidewalk?
Competition, if it's
no, but
you're going to take it all the way to entrepreneurship.
I mean, you don't agree with them being removed off the sidewalk.
I don't want them to be removed off the sidewalk.
Oh, no.
I think that if it is that you have to reposition yourself, that is an option.
I think
that
how are you going to reposition?
I think it brings some sort of authenticity to St. Kitts. We might not have a designated area where you can go and shop, but you can find them all over, spots here, spot there, and you could choose who you want to choose.
Maybe there's nobody to police them. And when I say police them respectfully, I mean by saying, like for example, in New York City,
I think
you normally have them. First of all, the curves are wider, but they would normally be closer to the traffic side, and then you allow the flow of traffic on the inside. So to go basically between stores, you literally have that space, and then they're kind of close to the curb or the edge.
But the sidewalks are already so small, like I don't understand.
But
I'm not understanding the reposition at all.
But for instance, in this picture,
some of them too
all
big.
them are closer.
So maybe they need to control the setup, the size of the setup.
Exactly. So that's what Alessa was saying, like put it closer on the edge so you could,
because the flow of traffic to flow.
I mean, with the size of the sidewalk, if we're talking about the disabled persons, no matter how you set it up, it's still gonna hamper them from passing.
No, I don't
think so.
Because they wouldn't have stepped down in the road.
I think it could work.
It could work. It could work.
I think we could.
I think that there is some
better.
Yeah.
I think some
so
police.
So who going to volunteer to be on the committee or try to have an input? Who's going to represent the street
send your
vendors?
messages, your comments.
Ayana?
If you're interested to be on the committee, Ayana, Rastafari. Yeah. So yeah, just stay on the committee, is it?
What do you guys think about the entrepreneurship industry in St. Kitts? Are you like, for instance, I've seen so many, since COVID, there has been so many CEOs. I think Jolanda was saying that somebody would have tweeted that St. Kitts and Nevis got the more CEOs, and I mean it's no shade.
Yeah,
We
man, too.
appreciate you guys, and we appreciate the hustle.
No?
We appreciate the hustle.
I don't think
But
I'm
what do you
saying.
guys feel about the oversaturation of product selling? Because even though that yes, we have this entrepreneurship thing going, it's mostly only food and makeup you're seeing.
And yeah, accessories, yeah. And belts.
We're seeing belts.
People that say that.
No, like
Instagram
oversaturated. Or just here on
like a lot of
there.
it, when you have any conversation of accessories, belts is one of the main items
Yeah, the
being
skinny.
sold.
But nobody they sell nothing for man. Hey, that's an idea. Come on.
Men.
Men, unless they got money, must check you. You know, it's an
I think they have a
idea.
men's store on 4th Street now.
For
But I
men's
guess
store,
not
right?
to the point that it's
Not like a pop-up
saturated.
shop.
Alex Smart Fit. Woo!
No, but so your Smart Fit has already been established.
Smart Fit too expensive. That was going on with Smart Fit. They make for man like a less stomach man like me.
So, putting it out there, we need an all-inclusive men's
Men
store.
pop-up shop.
Yeah, we want something.
So what you
like-
want, see?
I
Shirts
can.
and so?
Yeah, let me buy a Afro pick, something, let me some accessories.
Okay,
too.
fine.
I want a belt.
I
What
take
me
it
and all
notes.
them?
Me no have it.
So is that the belts them too expensive in there?
No, me no, you buy none. Me no, me no, I can't say, I can't say.
But if you see one online, just like how you could tell me about the hair and the accessories and the belt for the females. If you see one pop out online, you'll be well to
Yeah,
grab
man,
it.
slide in them DMs. Come on, how much for them deal? $25.
Yeah.
No problem. Meet me here by the
Book
soul
that.
cost.
Yeah.
I'll meet me on the show.
So you know, based on your topic is about having many CEOs and things, you think that it's a problem? Is that real?
Of course
instigating
not.
that
I
it's a
don't think
problem?
that it's an. I don't think that it's a problem. And as I was telling Alesta that we appreciate the hustle. We're knocking about the hustle, the way you have to do to make a quick buck. However, what do you guys? However, there is, like I said, an oversaturated industry in food. But what are you doing different to make yourself stand out from your competition? You create an Instagram page, but your Instagram page look exactly like anybody else's page. What do you think people like not teacher? Don't call me a teacher.
Well, what happened to teacher?
You know what I mean? A teacher,
I'm
but
a
I
teacher.
Something in the class.
Just saying.
Okay, go ahead. Sakio got his hand raised, so let's see what he has to say.
Professor, okay, I just wanted to say one thing. I just do entrepreneurship as a mind of the college, right? And the main characteristic of an entrepreneur, to me, is them being risk takers. You understand what I mean? Like them being
Wait, no, let him finish.
Alesta.
Mistake.
Go ahead.
innovative and creative. Every time, every topic in entrepreneurship, those two words come out. So I mean, are you really an entrepreneur if you ain't using, if you're
not taking risks?
and you ain't being innovative or creative in your,
Different.
like,
Are
it's
you
like,
being
really,
different?
are you really an entrepreneur or are you a retailer? Like,
Yeah.
so like I think
So you feel like the term shouldn't be used as loosely as it is
not
being
even just
now?
that. Like
You just a
definitely that.
retailer. You're
But
right.
I mean, just
You're right. Sakio,
yeah,
you're
really,
just a
you're not CEO. You're more like a CER, a chief executive retailer.
retailer.
Right, goodbye.
No, but it's true. It's true.
Come on,
Like,
teacher.
you have to know how to sell your product and you have to know how to sell your product differently. You have to be able to take risks. You have to be
Innovative and
innovative.
creative.
You create an Instagram page and you send it round and it's like wow, 100 people selling the
Just to
same
add to what
thing.
Sakian said, for me, I think the biggest problem in saying is that we too follow suit about things. So, for example, I always use this simple example that says, if I am selling chicken, somebody's going to go across the road and sell chicken. The person's not going to be wise enough to say,
As
Let me
soon as
sell
it does.
fish.
garlic bread, let me sell corn,
As soon
let
as
me
it does.
sell rice,
They're
so
not
that we can
innovative.
complement each other. They're not going to
As
take
soon as it
the
Initiative,
the
the step.
think
So
outside of the box and come with something that's
That's a good
genuine.
point.
But the best
And
thing
the
is say,
same thing going back to the point of what Sakian is making is you have to take calculated risks. Look at yourself, look at the situation and see what can I come up with differently. So for example, you might say 869 to go was a great idea. You know what I mean? Right now I see a couple of people on the low doing a little Uber thing. Uber is a great idea. Uber started, I remember taking my first Uber like maybe 4 years ago. And since that, Uber's been the best thing ever. You don't have to pay, it's cashless, it works, it goes to your credit card.
I think one or two persons
You know what I mean?
Uber here.
So what I'm saying is those are kind of
sense.
ideas that you have to be thinking about.
about.
Look at
Let
the
me-
market.
Wait, a second has something to say.
Let me interject here.
Yeah, teacher.
So, we have a ministry, a new ministry. I think it's
Entrepreneurship. By the Honorable Minister,
Entertainment.
Akila Bayo Nisbi. Yeah. So, when we talk about entrepreneur, my mind goes back to that in terms of, has the ministry begun?
Starting? No. It's
I can't
still
tell you,
in
yeah.
the process of launching fully. I kind of know because I actually work in the Ministry of Health, but I know that they haven't really started. Please, nobody quote me.
I feel like that would be a good area for the government to tap into.
Training.
But not only training, but investing in
And nurturing small business ideas to
for the young entrepreneurs. Like as we see, more and more of our young people, older people in general, St. Kitts people on a whole, want to become more independent. They want to make their own. They don't want to be relying on the man, as I refer to my the boss, in any establishment. And so I was thinking, well, you say you know about it a little bit. Do you know any plans they have to?
No.
Before we get into that,
push
Second
our
has
health?
something to say. You could have waited until he said something, man, Jalando. Come on. Yeah, but she has something to say in a question. You move on.
Well, you know, just adding on to what Lester said, if you remember, you know, he was just saying that, especially when I was working, the hardest thing to do is find something to eat. And it ain't because you have a lot of options, it's because you have little options. I mean, especially for something that close by. I mean, you got
In
Crave,
close
you got
proximity.
Burger King, you got KFC, like all of them is the same, ready for you, like.
Right. Oh, that's another thing. On
Jeez,
816 figure, you really are, you say this
like
place?
the varieties.
Yeah, it's like it's so limited. It's like, you think it would be so hard to get something to eat because they got a lot of options? But you only have because you ain't got much. It's like, who put chicken in one? Who put chicken in one?
Which one bang the more?
Which one do you bet?
I feel like too, it's kind of like a mock kind of thing because that's the same how you see it in other countries. It's like when you see the town area, it's all the fast food restaurants, even though you know you're gonna see. But only thing is a McDonald's. The McDonald's here, the Subway on the corner. Actually, back to Barbados again, McDonald's here, but not McDonald's Sheffield here, but a Sheffield like 10 steps away from the next Sheffield. So it's like, I think the situation will be a lot of these franchises fight to have themselves in town. And it's sad that they have to offer, all of them have to offer the same products, but I feel like it's everywhere that we see that being done.
For me personally, looking at the singing society as it is, I think a lot of people are afraid of partnership. A lot of people are afraid of criticism, and sometimes with me personally, I mean, I get licks all the time for being a little too blunt. But don't come with no pipe dream idea of oh, where you gonna open? Oh, we're gonna sell food. Where you gonna sell rice, peas, chicken, this. Like, come up with something that's more creative that people could actually say yes. I mean, look at it right now. Saying Loki has a sushi market where persons go for sushi. I could understand that. I could understand having something. Tacos, Mexican food. We only really have chinchillas. You know what I mean? So those are things I think we need to tap into.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I lived in Canada for 5 years.
So we definitely need to be more innovative.
Canada was known on the basis of having basically so many multicultural dishes, such as like the gyros and the, you know what I mean, you get almost Middle Eastern, South American,
I like the gyros, you got
Brazilian.
Gyro thing, shawarma can have 3 locations.
You know, so I think that's what we need to kind of shift it. And
so now we're going into the last topic of the evening.
Hold on. Ayana was talking.
No, I was just saying that. Time moving real fast, guys.
I didn't feel sorry for. I didn't feel sorry for.
I just had to say that we needed to wrap up. I mean, we could talk. We could literally talk.
I cut her off. She actually tapped me and said, Yolanda, we're going to this one now. So, it wasn't really hard. I mean, she cut me off to cut for cut, you know? You know, let the ladies be ladies. But the last topic of the evening touched on domestic violence. So, while on social media in the past week, I don't quite remember, I saw this case of a NFL player who physically abuse his girlfriend. So apparently he asked her to bow down and she refused. As a result, he beat her physically and until she lost consciousness. So I guess moment passed in the apartment, and when she finally regained consciousness, he stood over her and was like, "Wow, wow, you're still alive." And so that's when she immediately ran to the bathroom and dialed 911. I think he's out on bail, but he did lose his job with the we play with him, and it was also on Seattle Times. I just like to know, but it's a touchy conversation because I find even hearing saying it's like domestic violence is it happens ever so often. And my first question, because there are many questions I want to touch on for this topic, is when do you guys think enough should be enough? I like to note that I don't think in most cases domestic violence or physical abuse rather starts with physical abuse. It goes from emotional to verbal, and then it leads to the physical abuse. So do you think that right off the bat with the emotional abuse you should stand up and say, no, I don't know if you're going to skyrocket to physical, but I'm taking myself out? Or maybe emotional abuse like the same how you got a friend, so a girlfriend who kind of bothering you emotionally. So maybe you wait until you get some verbal abuse and say, well, if you're swearing after me, there's a slap coming next. Right? And what do you guys think?
I'd like to start off with this point, right? People show you who they are, and people show you who they are believing the first time. I think a lot of times people end up in situations where they often play the victim role and often go about it on denial. I'm not saying that there are not going to be issues in a relationship or a situationship or whatever the hell it might be. But what I'm saying is that people need to be aware of the issues that can happen. So for example, I always say people, there are always signs. I mean, I don't remember the song, the famous song they sing by Sanchez. There are lots of signs in life, some that remain are like, you know, that kind of...
No. That you want that one.
The off tune, that's all. I know the song, man. I know the song.
But like I always say, that there are signs, and if you go into a situation and you realize there are certain red flags, don't doubt them down or pretend that they're not happening. Like if you realize that certain things are happening, then you need to work out if this is something I could tolerate or not. And you need to be able to know what you want and know what you don't want. That's all
this one here itching. I got itching
because
so let me hear this one now.
We talk from a perspective where it is easy for us to say, okay, I'm done with it. But what happened if you are dependent on that person as a breadwinner? He takes care of your children, he takes care, he gives you money, he does this for you, he picks you up.
So you think that validates it?
No, I'm not saying it validates it, but a lot of people are in situations where they feel tied, not necessarily by marriage, they feel tied
by the financial
aspect. They are heavily dependent on this person. So if it is that you have to take a little bit of emotional abuse, he paying the bills. And if it is that you have to, if your back is blood, and you have to take a little bit of verbal abuse, they will take it. But we are speaking from an aspect of, okay, well, it's easy to leave, let's just leave.
No, we're talking about the aspect. We're just asking when you guys think enough is enough.
But oftentimes, it is not easy to leave.
I think persons still...
People are in physical, people are in physical abusive relationship for years. And what do you think it is?
Saki, let me hear from you.
Hear from me? Nobody going to box me. But yeah, definitely, I agree with Alesta. You know, there are signs leading up to it. Before it happens, you're going to see it happening. You're going to see it about to happen. You know what I mean? So I mean, you just got, you really buy it, man, like this, stop it, girl.
But I was saying that sometimes you're dependent. Do you think do you guys think it's a situation that you have nothing, or you're so comfortable with the lifestyle that he provides, so you don't want to branch off and be more independent for yourself?
But also,
no, it's a question.
I'm going to just add to what Jolanda is saying. You have to realize that, let me put it into medical terms, right?
Alright.
You can leave it here and you can stay here and metastasize, which means it just stays there and it gets worse and worse and worse over time, rather than nipping it in the body. And by nipping it in the body, I mean that you see certain red flags and you need to address it as it happens.
Yeah.
such that it don't become an argument that can escalate into a physical altercation or vice versa. Like, for example,
stand your ground. Stand your ground. Yeah. No. What he's saying is that the first side,
right?
Okay.
And
I think you tried to hint something.
If I'm in a relationship with Jolanda and we have a disagreement and it kind of got a little escalated, it's at that point I think Jolanda should have the conversation and say, I don't like how you spoke to me, and if you really want this to continue, then this can't happen. Because the next time it happens, I'm going to remember.
And that's the first conversation.
Girl, who you think you're talking to?
So then guess what? Then you know, then I don't need to feel you any longer.
If it's that you are already dependent, because sometimes you don't at the beginning of the relationship, you know, people change over time.
People change over time, but how long after have you seen them change though? Let's be real about it. It's only so long.
As in,
you
like,
could change
you
it.
start
You could
off in a
you
relationship, he's sweet, he's kind,
but,
he's so nice.
Let's look at the time frame. How long do you see them maintaining this facade?
I can't say.
I can't say, because everybody's
different. Everybody's different.
Just to a second,
maybe it was them saying they
sometimes people need to take time to learn the person.
Oh, another important point about the article. He noted that he has a bipolar disorder, right?
So she dumb.
No, it's not that she's dumb.
Sakian,
take out it.
Sakian.
Because you man, bipolar.
No.
Those bipolar man ain't deserve love.
Yeah, saying about a bipolar man supposed to be the bipolar woman. So to them step bipolar. But I mean, if it is okay,
all joke aside.
Let me serious.
Let me interject. All joke aside. When you have bipolar disorder, from a medical standpoint, I mean, we don't have the literature to pull up. You still have to be mindful that the person can have happy days, it can be controlled with medication, stuff like that. So I don't want the viewers to get the wrong
idea of bipolar, that once you're bipolar, that you can't be.
That we could, there are ways around it.
Yeah.
At the same time, you still need to be aware and conscious enough that if you realize that certain things going down the road, then you need to be able to address it. And in a situation like that.
No, let's go back to what Alistair was saying. Bipolar disorder doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, well, I'm going to be an attackful person. Yes, I may have this different moods and what's not, but there are ways around it. You could actually take antidepressants and different medication to help you control your behaviors and what's not. It could be that there. Well, actually, they didn't speak on how long the abuse she was experiencing, the abuse for. But it could be on that he was off medication. It still doesn't justify his behaviors. But I felt as though it was important to note. Go ahead.
So you want to tell me, you there with this man for however long, you know he could chip. No matter what medication he taking or whatever, he could chip. And when he don't chip, you wet.
So you feel like
no, but I kind of understand what it's a matter of you willing to take that risk.
Exactly.
So question, should you never date someone who has a mental disorder? I'm not even talking about bipolar disorder, no.
If it is that I know how to cope with it, if it is that I know how to cope with it,
I would call it.
If it is that I know how to cope with it, then yes. Definitely. But if it is that you have a mental disorder and I am not willing to help you or facilitate you or lend I'm not going to put myself in that situation.
Does that make her a clown or a fool?
No, it does not.
It doesn't make her a fool. It doesn't make her. But it's a. It doesn't make her a fool.
Me want to say a fool.
You see, so take it back.
But I want to say, I'm trying to sell it.
You put yourself in a position.
You know where you put yourself in. You can't be a teller and expect to count money.
But
so you're going in a situation with a crazy man, basically, and I expect to get you.
Crazy is a strong word.
Okay. And a bipolar man.
This is a psychology major coming here. It's crazy. We use going on the fact that we use the word crazy too loosely. Having a bipolar disorder in no shape or form means you're crazy. Having a mental disorder, it's a mental. That's
so
it.
You have to be careful the word. Because you don't want the viewers to get
and it triggers.
Sorry to say crazy, you hear? All the man know what this psyche word, my apologies, big up. I mean, I can handle it, yo. I tell you. Anyway, moving on. What I saying though is like, when you put yourself in something, what you say, you can't get it down and then expect the bonus. Something the man does say. When you're in a situation,
I just feel it's not that simple.
Certain things come with it. So she in the situation and there is a
It's a situation that you met him and Right off the bat, you may have seen that he exhibits different world behaviors, and you know you're getting into a situation there. This person acts out now and again, but they're under control and
but
the medication and
you can't talk from that relationship or that perspective. No,
just talking. That's what I'm saying. Are you making? I mean, general.
No, because like you said, it starts with emotional and verbal, and if it is, I'm just saying that he would have shown displays traits of anger issues. So what Sakian is saying now is you've seen these signs, you know what he's capable of. Are you still willing to take on that risk? And I'm not saying that she's wrong for engaging in that relationship, but what Sakian is simply saying is, you know.
That coming
what you're going into.
You know.
Yeah. So what I said, but my point is that looking from a more general perspective, because we don't know the details. You don't know if what I was saying. You don't know what she met or what she encountered in the first instance, to know that she fully threw herself into that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying it may be different for everybody else. If it's a perspective of you entered and right off the bat, this is how it is, then yeah, you could fully say that. But so a lot of people have different ways to hide a lot of the things that they're going
Just
through.
to wrap up real quick and move on. Do you guys think that we live in an empathetic society?
No, that was my next point, actually.
We don't.
That was my next point. That was my next point.
No,
because
I think this is a very, very unforgiving society. And even when you're 40 or 60 or 80, they will still remember that one time.
Judgment.
They're going to say that one time when Ayana had a mental breakdown at 20.
Yeah.
So
even though
don't
Ayana
you
could have gone and
then if she passed,
anything.
we're going to use, and then the word crazy going to come in. If she passed, Moody, and she come over and because she crazy. That's what I mean.
So that also creates that stigma and also that judgmental.
So don't you think that is why a lot of people stay in these relationships and keep it behind closed doors, because they are so afraid of what the public might say?
Of course. But at the same time,
he banging a long time.
The image can only last for so long. And it will reach a point where, just like in the football situation, she could have died.
Consciousness.
She could have died too.
So,
and the whole story of that situation could have had a different ending. Had she not addressed it, or like we started off the conversation by saying, had she not nipped it in the bud early.
Definitely. So the question is, do you feel like you have so much to prove to the society that you have to stay behind closed doors and
I agree with Yolanda.
Be abused, whether it be emotional, physical, like
sacrificing your health and compromising your whole integrity.
You allow society to be your judge and your juror,
dictator of how you should live.
And so that is dictating. No, I mean saying who else, you know? If that's you allowing them to control your life, that's the question. So I'm going to be abused in secret because I don't want you to judge me.
And say like this.
One more time.
No, go ahead. We can
say like this. Wait. Say you is the nicest person I love. You know? You know that in your heart that you're nice, you mean well. But so this is a society and we make up the rest of the society. Let's know Ayana and me. And we feel like you is a bad person, basically. You is a bad person then, yeah? Because how the majority or how society feel about you.
That's what you're going to turn into. And we learned that in sociology, remember? We are society kind of wombs who you are. So if you're a little boy and say, boy, he's a bad boy, he's a bad boy, he's a bad boy. You don't come up a bad boy.
You don't come up a bad boy. You don't come up a bad boy.
But sometimes we still have to fight the preconceived stigma and say, listen, yeah, you could choose that life, but then there's also choices. I don't think that you have to live up to society's expectation or preconceived notion about you. You need to be able to
I understand the point, right? But they don't know. I understand the point of society playing a role, especially when it comes to juvenile delinquents. But I feel as though when we're comparing a domestic violence case, a woman who is being abused physically, to a juvenile delinquent who is living up to the stigma placed on them, is two totally different situations. If I come forth as a victim, you want me to tell me that because society sees me as a victim, I have to live up to a victim role? Exactly. I have to live up to say, I am a victim, help me in every aspect of my life going forward? No. It's a totally different situation. It's a situation that, like anybody else. So let me ask you this question, Ayana. Maybe I should ask you because you're the one who raised it. Anyway, let me ask you this question. If you were abused at home, you're married for 10 years, you're abused, yeah, people might come out and they're going to judge you. Oh, I can't believe your husband was banging her for so long. Do you personally feel as though is going to make you a big victim for the rest of your life? That you're going to live up to the fact that I am a victim?
Well, I am a victim.
That's what you mean?
No.
No, why?
You
I
said-
am a person. I am a victim.
Not. Whether or not you have been a victim of a thing, it changes who you are. That this is me in every single aspect of my life. A victim. I look in a job.
I'm not going
outside.
to succumb to being.
what-
So that's my point.
Yeah.
You're not gonna change who you are. You're not gonna say in every situation, every single aspect
Nobody
of your
said
life.
that,
No, but when you
Jolanda.
draw the reference of
Nobody
a
said
quote
that.
unquote bad boy, you're saying that he changes every aspect of his life
No,
to
I'm
adhere to
not
what
saying
something-
that. I'm not
he
saying
changed
that.
it. But
Because
that's
they're
what
good,
the point.
they're good bad
Correct me if I'm
boys.
wrong.
We are saying that you are perceived
See,
as
that's
No,
bad.
That's
yeah,
the-
you are perceived as that. But what I'm saying is that he's saying is that because society said that that's where you're gonna be, and ultimately you're gonna turn into that person.
What I mean when I say that,
No,
Okay.
don't
what
take
I-
it
what
literal.
I
Don't
said
take
that-
it literal.
Well, that's what I took
exactly.
it.
I
Don't
mean,
take
Okay,
it
go
like,
ahead.
no matter how you feel, you be. Once
Society-
these men feel that how you is a
That
certain
is
way,
who you are.
that is who you be.
You know what I say? A
In
thief
terms
is
of-
always a thief.
In terms,
This
exactly.
is always a that. That is always
It's
a
like
a scam
once
is always
I
a
feel-
scammer.
okay.
If I change my life tomorrow, I could be clean, pure-hearted. Society can still see me as
Exactly.
what I am guilty of.
But how to fix that without society being judgmental? And
You understand? So
I
in
understand
that
what you're
every
saying,
aspect
but
of life.
but in general, for you personally, do you feel like society can dictate how you feel about yourself?
Of course.
Definitely.
You have a question?
Let me change who you are as a person.
Me personally, no. Other person.
We just say yeah. So which?
I'm talking on behalf of.
No, that's why I say I'm asking you. I
Me
know.
personally, no. But if it gets to a point where hell yes, then yeah, of course it's gonna hurt my self-esteem. It's gonna hurt how I see myself. It's gonna hurt how I carry myself. It's gonna
But
hurt
it's
whether
not
or not
with
I
you.
want to go in
So
public.
back to the
because
domestic.
people might see me as a particular way.
Back to the domestic violence conversation. Should a victim remain behind closed doors because society perceive her as a victim?
Of course not. I think it
Because
starts
I feel
with
like that's what I was getting
No, it starts
from
with
you
us
guys
as a
that we
society.
should stay behind closed doors because society is
No,
going to judge us.
of course not. That's not what we're saying whatsoever. Let's get that clear. That's not what we're saying. We are saying that the change starts with society.
It start with you.
It
You
starts
make up
with
society,
you.
yeah? Because
It
you
starts
can't
with
judge
you.
and expect not to be judged.
Exactly.
So I mean,
It starts with you.
start
And
with you. That's all. That's it.
For
And that's
instance,
all.
society. We spoke about us being an empathetic society, and we are not an empathetic society, which
At all.
hinders
At all.
persons from progressing, from
And being
From
forthcoming and
learning
actually
from
even seeking counseling and trying to become a better version of themselves.
we are not, and so it starts with us. It starts with us starting to see people
As
differently,
human beings.
lend a helping shoulder. It
Lend a
could
helping
happen to
hand.
anybody.
Start with the four of us and all the viewers. Just look within
And
yourself. That's
the
all it
whole
is.
conversation of us not being an empathetic society gives sent us back to the past when he had this song, Who Name Sean?
If
Yeah,
you
like,
do
And
not
everybody
let
made a
me
mockery out of that.
I mean, I know
to
that.
me, Saki and Learn the whole song.
I know this song.
You know what
Everybody-
I mean?
Collision
But
man
how old
at
you
that
was?
time. I mean, how old I was? I was around.
Yes, when it first.
No, don't sing it. I personally, I feel like that's a
So
very.
in that moment,
Yeah,
they
that's
all
easy.
like
And
a
everybody
song
was
like
singing
that.
it.
It shows
She get a lot of lyrics.
how we don't empathize, how we
we're
are
not
so
forgiving.
cold-hearted, and how we are not
We're not
remorseful to these
forgiving.
You got a boyfriend?
situations. No, why?
No wonder.
Why? What I mean?
If you boyfriend but you don't have to do what he do though. Trust me.
Yeah, but not to
Who
me.
damn
So
Sean?
weird.
Yeah, but
So
no,
weird.
wait, let's not justify it. We have to wrap up.
Weird.
We have to wrap up, guys. No, stop,
Are you
Jolanda. Just
sure?
hold it. Just hold it.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
She just joked. He just Sakian is a
Second,
clown.
state that
And
you're
if
joking, like we
Of
go
course it's a
forward.
joke.
Okay.
Let's
And
just-
for going forward here and
But
joking.
boy
about
not
that
sweet. Boy not sweet. Yeah. You ever get bite?
no comment. Guys, I hope you got a little snippet, just a little snippet of each of our characters and how we measure together on this show. I can't wait to come back next Sunday with brand new topics with Jolanda, Analysta, and Sakian
And Sean.
right here on
Each
the show.
week, we're going to be bringing you the hottest topics of the press. You remember what I said in the beginning? Hottest topics of the press. Tune in, comment, like, what's a Shady Live?
Shady Live.
we want to hear your thoughts. As you see, this is a very relaxed environment. We are not uptight.
We're very
just
laid
free,
back.
and it's our opinions, please. Be mindful of that. We don't mean to offend, but it's strictly our opinions, and it's the same. If you comment with your opinion, we'll be open and we'll respond. And yeah, that's what this show is about. The show.
In closing,
yes, Sakyan.
Tune in.
What's that?
It's your boy Sakyan. It's your girl
Jolanda.
It's your girl.
Ayano.
And it's your boy. And we are
The show.
Tune in every Sunday, 8 p.m.
Share
I mean,
the
a lot
line,
of
share
topics
the line.
didn't make it to this Sunday, but next week Sunday we're going to tap into a different set of
Judge free zone.
Yeah, I mean, don't judge and expect not to be judged. So that's the thing here. That's the motto. I'm claiming it, I'm making it.
Yeah.
Don't judge and expect
Not to be judged.
You understand? So we are the show. Good night. I got Caribbean studies in the morning. Don't study that. I gotta go. Big up by yourself.
Okay. See you.
The show. Rocking you.